Hey guys, Jception here, and yeah, this is not the, this is not what I'm playing. This is my old video, by the way. If I move my head away, you will see another me in here. But yeah, this is an interesting build that I want to, redo this league. The problem with this build is it is so laggy, super laggy. And but the skill is crazy, right? The skill is very crazy. You can hit up to 560 hits every 0.83 second with this setup. Currently we can get to 0.72 second, by the way, but the problem is my PC cannot handle it. So this time I take a different approach and go ahead and do the, let me just show you a demo of how it looks like. So it is race zombie of falling, and we can have 28 zombies hitting the ground at the same time every trigger, and the trigger is 0.72 second, right? Pretty cool. The concept, the thing that I want to talk about in this build is three tricks that I'm doing. So first thing first, this I already have done this league. Svalin for lucky block. Obviously I would try to get cap block with all means necessary. It's not that hard, it's not that big of an investment, and we have effectively 91% chance to block. We have 68 here, but lucky bring it, mathematically it brings it to 91% roughly, right? We combo it with the in the stand build and a high body armor, with high armor and evasion. If you do like pure evasion in this case, you can do the same thing as I do and steal the escape artist node from Trickster. This is currently 40 chaos per jewel. 40 chaos, right? Will give you a bunch of free energy shield as well. So you have a pretty big hit pool and you do not get hit that often. And chances are when you get hit the next time after the first time, it is already a few seconds already, and your word comes back. Your word comes back after 0.9 second only, and your ES probably comes back as well, and your life probably regen as well. So you will have a pretty good defense against like a single hit, and most of the time you don't even take the hit because you are blocking, right? So this is a pretty good, pretty solid defense setup that I have used in the previous character, and right here, right now, I am using on this character as well. So that is the first thing. Second thing is going to obviously be the zombie brand. Why do we use this zombie brand? Well, I will give a TLDR version, but if you want to know the exact detail, I would like to recommend you to check out Surgeon's General. This video he made 3 months ago. He also have another one on this build, but in this video, in this build guide, he explained very well in extreme detail of how things work, what doesn't work on each other, things like that. But long story short, TLDR, Raise Zombie of Falling doesn't suffer from Arcanist brand less damage multiplier, and also doesn't suffer from the Perfect Crime less damage multiplier. So Zombie of Falling is the only skill in this case that you can kind of like benefit from this, right? So it's pretty cool. Is there anything else that I want to talk about? Okay, so the zombie is going to be with Pulverize, give a lot of AoE and area damage for melee attack. The zombie is doing a melee attack, by the way. When it falls on the ground, that is actually an attack. It cannot miss. It can deal double damage. It has a pretty good multiplier built in. We are going to use it with Montregu's Grasp. This is hands down the best weapon that you can use. It gives a whopping 125% more physical damage for zombies. And also, not only that, it also gives me 50% explosion. And it is 100% chance to explode for 50% of the enemy's life as fire damage. So this potentially can just help you to shotgun some like single target if they are surrounded by enemies. So very nice weapon, best in slot for this build, and it is super cheap even for the max roll. It's like less than 20 chaos. I bought this one for 5. So yeah, that is the thing. The last thing that I want to mention is how I scale the brand recall to this low of a cooldown, right? So it is 0.7 second. If you are having all the brands up, it goes down to 0.72 second. So most of the cooldown recovery we are having is from the Honor Home helmet here with a special corruption. This can only be achieved by using the Glimpse of Chaos. You violate a bunch of time until it bricks into the Honor Home helmet. If it retain a +2 level of Socket of Gems, which is a specific and like unique to the Glimpse of Chaos implicit for corruption, it bring this helmet to a +4 level to all Socket of Gem, and it is important because it applies to support gem like Empower, Enhance, and also it applies to skill gem like Automation and Brand Recall. The Empower and Enhance here support both Automation and Brand Recall as well. So long story short, you have a crazy amount of levels and quality to Brand Recall. This is level 7. This is corrupted from level 6 to level 7. And this one is only a level 20 automation. So a crazy amount of levels. Level 7 becomes 19. Level 20 becomes 32. And a lot of quality from also the Asher to the Star as well, along with Enhance, obviously. So it gives a lot of cooldown recovery. A lot of cooldown recovery. And it brings the number down to just 0.72 second instead of the base number of 4 seconds, as you can see under the mana cost over there, right? 4 seconds to 0.72 second. So this is basically the speed scaling of the build, right? So you will have 28 zombies every 0.72 second. So on average is around 42 zombies per second on average, right? Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. So yeah, that is basically the mechanic of the build, right? Let's see. Otherwise, I am using a little bit of a word shenanigan here to reduce the downtime of word, basically. So with block build, you reduce this time from 2 seconds to 0.9 seconds. It is very nice because you will almost always, if not always, have word to take the hit for you, instead of you have to take it through ES and life. So word is going to be there to protect you, right? Mechanically, word will break on every single hit. You have 3k word, you take 1 damage, it will still break the word. But with block, that is why it works very well with block, because it just recovers fully after 2 seconds by default. Now it's 0.9 seconds over here, so you will always have it up when you take the next hit, basically. I also have a little bit of evasion, right? Not too much, but a little bit of evasion, so there it is. There's one particular thing that I want to mention as well. So beside the setup with the Ray Zombie of Falling here, I try to mess around with this setup as well. It's pretty cool. So American Brand of Recall. This is a natural brand skill. So you do not use it with Arcanist Brand, right? You can use it with Cast When Stun. Now this is just a level Cast When Stun, and just like for the sake of trying to be stunned here. I'm not even sure if Blood Aqueduct is going to be able to stun me. Let me just go to Toxic Sewer here. There are monsters left in here, so they will stun me, and please stun me, and there you go. Basically, you will be able to summon the Armageddon Brand, and the Brand Recall will just keep calling them down here. The support gem for it is absolutely dog shit right now, so the damage is dog shit. But you know, you get the idea. You can have like a 0 button playstyle with Cast When Stun and Armageddon Brand of Recall. The bad thing about this setup compared to the Zombie of Falling is, first of all, you have like twice less the amount of triggers when you trigger the Brand Recall, because literally the Arcanist Brand linked to a spell, which is the Ray Zombie here, is an additional layer of trigger, which is a ×2 multiplier on top of everything else. So it comes from 14 hits, 14 zombies to 28. And Brand Recall here, you would just have 14, you know, Armageddon Brand Recall instead of 28. Just have 14. And also it does suffer from the less multiplier from the Perfect Crime here. So it's just a cool little setup. you can do like some simple mapping with it, but I do think it does fall off in terms of like overall damage. Sure, we can, have an actual weapon for it. For example, normally when I do that, I use this weapon in particular. It's not that great, but it is okay, right? For elemental overload, we are not scaling crit, so elemental overload is the way to go. And of course, other support gem as well. So you can have like elemental focus areas good here, fire pan, things like that, right? So you can have a proper support gem for it, and it will be, a very fine mapping build. But in terms of like pure single target potential, I think the brand zombie and the self-cast brand playstyle is just simply better, right? And because we are having we are having two remarkable on two medium plus the jewel here. Every time you cast a brand, you have 70% chance to cast two instead. So quality of life is very good here. Here I cast one, here, okay, that happened twice. What? Okay, here we cast two there. Let me just wait for them to expire. But on average, 70% chance to double cast, right? 2 cast, 3 cast have 5 brand. And we have 7 brand. So those 4 casts, we have 3 out of 4 with double brand, right? So basically, it's just a bunch of quality of life. Let me just show you real quick. If you run a linear map, if you are good, better than me at like shield charging, here's what it normally should look like in like a map that is very linear. Like for example, like Strand, like Canyon, things like that, right? So you can just move around very quickly, cast a brand here and there. You don't even need to have all the brands up all the time. It's just like important for single target, and for single target, you don't have to move. You can just hold down the button to cast the brand, right? While mapping, you don't need it, and you can just move through very quickly. So yeah, that is the build. That is, I'm going to leave the POB in the description. This is the POB, by the way. Ignore the damage here. The POB cannot calculate the damage of Ray Zombie of Falling at all. Not to mention, it cannot calculate the the brand perfect crime shenanigan that is going on. So the number is irrelevant here. But what I want to show you is the setup here. Oh, there's another tech that I will mention quickly, but this is going to be like the level 100 skill tree. I was level 90, 18.7 in the clip. So this is how a level 87 character is currently looking like, right? You are lacking a little bit of points here and there, and this is going to be the full POB. I am taking the mastery, a little bit more life here, and that is about it. One thing that I want to mention, how can I sustain this build? This build has a very heavy mana cost problem. If you want to convert it to life, you still have to sustain the life. And because Ray Zombie is not a spell that you do damage yourself, you cannot leech life from it. So that is kind of out of the equation as well. So the way that I am using to mitigate all the mana costs is taking all the reduced mana costs on the trees as possible. It is including this mana mastery here and the 2 nodes for reduced mana costs, the wheel here for life and reduced cost of skill, which include mana costs. This 4 nodes near the Templar, 4 mana costs, and also last but not least the Watcher's Eye for -9 to total mana costs. But all of those actually are not enough. We still like about 30%-ish, a little bit more than 30% reduce mana cost in order to make it 0, and we need to make it actually 0. A little bit of mana cost is still very, very big problem. The rest of the problem is solved through Militant Faith. 1% reduced mana cost of skill per 10 devotion. Well, we have a lot of devotion around this area, and also we are using a natural instinct. This is very, very, very good. it does give me like an extra, I think 985 devotion. Let me check in game actually. Yeah, it is 85 devotion, as you can see on the third line from the bottom up there. Like right here, right? 85 devotion. And along with all the devotion that we are having here, we just have the perfect amount to reduce the mana cost to, normally it's 8 here, right? Because I am in town and do not have clarity. But the moment I get out of town and got clarity going, I will get -9 and the spell will cost 0. So that is going to solve the mana problem. I think the only two other affix here is going to be good is the elemental resistances, which is super good. A lot of free resistance from here. And also it can be like reduce duration of elemental ailment on your character. And that is the only two thing that is good. Brand damage is not going to affect the zombie, so don't use that. Anyway, this is the POE, so I leave the link to this POE in the description. If you want to try out this very weird, wonky, hipster build, feel free, right? You have an example of Surgeon General over here doing endgame content with it. Right here, why don't I do like endgame content with it and show you guys? You already saw it. I disconnect from the game, so physically I cannot do it. And yeah, it's kind of sad, isn't it? Maybe I will need to sell all of this stuff eventually, because lagging out of the game is not something that I can, actually do anything about. And you know what? This league, we have a lot of cool stuff with the enchant and stuff from the roomsmithing, and so I will try to mess around with it. Potentially another like casting loop that is going to be infinite, or something that is like 0 button, or you press 1 button every like 30 seconds or some shit like that. That is going to be the next cool thing that I am going to look for, right? I am still farming Simulacrum every fucking day on my AFK build as well. That is the main thing that I am using to farm. It's very chill. I can do it off stream, on stream, do anything on the side. It's very chill, very good. So I would recommend you to check out that video yourself if you haven't. The link is going to be in the end of this video. And if you think this kind of content is interesting or helpful to you in any way, please consider to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos as well. It does help me tremendously, and I hope you have a great day, a great league, and great loot. Peace.